Hi, it's Kathleen from Bailey Academy, Canadian mom of five, homeschooling three of them, ages 8, 11, and 15. You'll have to excuse the beam of light that's coming down. I can't seem to get it to go away. I'll try to keep it out of my face. Today's video, I wanted to share how I plan. This is more how I plan the younger kids, not the high schooler. How I plan elementary school unit studies, I guess, or science and social studies, which we use unit studies for. So what I do not buy unit studies. It's not in the budget. It's not that I wouldn't necessarily, although I prefer to do things my way, but it's more that it's not in the budget. So what I do, or what I did at the beginning of the year, is I decided first of all what we were going to learn. So I knew that I had 10 months in my school year, so I wanted 10 social studies and 10 science units. And I decided what to learn based on my children's interests, but also something that I thought was a gap in their education. So for example, this past month we've been learning about dinosaurs. My kids are not interested in dinosaurs, but I didn't feel like they knew enough about dinosaurs and the earlier animals of the before us. So I felt that needed to be covered. Sorry, saying too much. So then I decided what they wanted to learn. I asked them their opinion, what things I felt that they needed to learn, or things that they generally learn at around their age group, so that I could be somewhat around what they would learn. Keeping in mind that since my kids were in school until recently, I wanted to make sure I wasn't covering stuff that they'd already covered. So for example, I know that my grade 6, when he was in grade 4, learned about Egypt, so we don't need to do that. So then I decide what month each thing is going to be. I mostly arbitrarily decided that. It was more stuff like I kept in mind when I wanted to do anything that required going outdoors. I didn't want to plan it for a winter month. When I decided what we're doing in September, I decided what would be the easiest one because I had less time to prepare for it. So you could match them up to months based on, like, if you wanted to do Christmas around the world, you would obviously do it in December, things like that. But if it doesn't match up to anything in particular, then keep in mind like whether you might be doing outdoor activities, whether if you're doing lots of science experiments for that particular theme, like say if you're doing chemistry, you're doing lots of science experiments. Make sure it's a month that you maybe have extra money, so you have money for the science equipment or supplies. So first I decide what I want to learn. Then I decide what month we're going to learn it in. Then I spent time searching my favorite sites, which I will mention what they are and link them below, and downloading anything that might possibly be useful. So I go to twinkl.ca, which I believe there's other sites that aren't Canadian, but Twinkl has lots of stuff. Now, Twinkl is not technically a free site, but what happens is there are free materials on there, and you can pay for a premium membership. You can also sign up for their newsletter, and they send you a couple newsletters a month, not too many, and most of them contain a link to download a premium resource for free. So using that, I've saved those emails up, and then when you go to the website, you save to your saved list anything that's interesting. So when you get one of those emails, you can click through, go to your saved list, and download something you need. Or you can say, like I said, save them up and then download a bunch of stuff. You can also buy a membership for just 1 month and download pretty much as you need. But even if the membership is in your budget, like, I recommend it because it's really good. They're really good quality resources they do have secondary high school stuff too, although there's less of it, but they definitely preschool all the way up to high school materials. Very, very good quality. And also Teachers Pay Teachers, which is well known. Teachers Pay Teachers is, you have to sign up to use it, but it's a free, there's free and there's paid materials. So when you're searching for something, say you're searching for dinosaurs, then you click on free if you don't have any money, or you don't have money, if you don't have a budget to buy things, is what I meant. And then you find lots of free resources and you can download them. But if you do have a budget, there are lots of resources are only a couple bucks, so it's definitely well worth the stuff that is out there. There is some stuff on there that's not worth it, so you just have to, but if especially if it's a free download. The stuff that's paid is usually pretty good. Stuff that's free sometimes is less good, but if you're downloading for free, you can just delete it if you don't like it, right? So it's no big deal. So I download those. I also search Pinterest and then pin things to a related board. So for October, we're going to learn genetics. So I've been pinning genetic crafts, activities, science experiments, explanations to Pinterest, saving, downloading things from those 2 websites I mentioned, searching the internet for other websites that have things that I need and downloading them. If I find a website that's more like knowledgeable or has YouTube videos, I bookmark them to my browser. I do all that. And then what I did is I did that over the summer for all the 10 months that I needed. And then as the months come closer, I'm finding more and more. So I'm preparing for October, so I've been finding as much genetic stuff as I can for kids. And then I organize what I found. So the pins are on Pinterest, the bookmarks are on my browser. Those are already pretty organized. But what I do is all the things I downloaded, I make a folder homeschool. Then under that, there's science. Then under that, there's genetics. So that all my genetic stuff is in one spot. And I do that for all the topics. And then once everything's organized, I make a list of all that I found. So in my planning binder, not my daily calendar of what we're doing each day, but my planning binder, I'll make a list. I'll say October is genetics, and I'll make a list. There's this science experiment, this website has a YouTube video to watch. I make a list of everything, this worksheet, of everything that I have to do. And then I count how many days we're going to be doing that topic. So we do science Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'll look at the month of October, keeping out, for example, Canadian Thanksgiving is a Monday, so we're not going to have school that day. So I keep an eye of any PA days or holidays, and then I count how many Mondays and Wednesdays we do actually have school. Obviously, that might change because of sicknesses or things that come up, but in general, I get a general idea of how many days we're going to be learning about, for example, genetics. And then I look at my list and I mark down the ones that are more important, and I start marking and be like, okay, well, this is like a basics of genetics, so this is going to be, day 1. And this is, about chromosomes. We need to learn about this first. So, okay, so, I kind of just generally organize, figure out what we need to do before other ones, and make a general, it's not completely planned out, but a general, these are things at the beginning, these are things at the end. To get generally organized. All right, so I count how many days away. All right, then there's 2 other ways that I've done it. So after I've decided what to learn, what month we're going to learn it in, searched my favorite sites and downloaded things, pinned stuff on Pinterest and bookmarked sites, organized what I found, made a list of all that I found, and count how many days of that month we're going to learn that topic, then there's 2 ways to do it. So you can plug in activities for the whole month. Take your planning calendar, organize, open it up to October. The way everybody's calendar looks differently, but, and then be like, okay, so this is October, 3rd is a Monday, or this is October 9th we're looking at. I didn't write the dates in. October 9th is a Monday. This is Thanksgiving, so it's a holiday. So this day we're going to do, this is the Wednesday we would do science. We're going to do this. So I plug everything in for the whole month. The problem with that is that if things change, you bump, a day you're sick or you had something to go to, a doctor's appointment, and you can't do it, then you have to bump everything down. So the way I do it more often is a week at a time. So, or not a week at a time, but I've already planned the first week of October, and it's not even October yet. So for example, the first week of October, I wrote down for science that we need to learn, first of all, what is genetics. So I have a webpage that talks about what is genetics, so we're going to do that first. We're going to read it and discuss it. What makes you video that I saved, makes sense to do that at the beginning. And then we're going to learn about genetics vocabulary, like chromosome, DNA, stuff like that. We're going to make index cards with the definitions on them and post them on the wall, so that throughout the whole month, if we forget what something means, we can see it on the wall. So we're going to do all that on the first day. And then on the Wednesday, we're going to play genetics bingo with those terms. it's a blank bingo card where you put, the words DNA, chromosome, gene, etc., and we'll play bingo with that. And I found a really cool Mario genetics video. My son is obsessed with video games, like obsessed with video games. You have no idea. That's all he does. That's all he cares about. Nothing else. So this is about talking about Rosalina, or Rosalina, which however you pronounce her name, and could she really be the child of Mario and Peach? And it does, but it doesn't just say that. It does the genetics. It's like, okay, well, the blue eyes is a recessive gene. It explains what recessive gene means and says, well, Mario, so that Rosalina had to have blue eyes, would have to have both parents with blue eyes, and Peach and Mario both have blue eyes. Stuff like that. Really cool. So I have that to watch. And then there's a My Inheritance sheet where we look at, what color eyes do we have? What color eyes do my parents have? Are my ears detached or attached? Because that's a thing. And what my parents have. So that's a really cool thing to do. So I plug it in like that. And then I might plug in the next week's a couple things, but I just do them a couple weeks, 1 or 2 weeks at a time. I find that works the best for us. I'm just looking at my list to see if there's anything else I was supposed to say. Oh, library books. Okay, so what I do is the week before, so like this week, I put a whole bunch of books about genetics as well as North America, because that's what we're learning in social studies this month, as well as the topics that my high schooler is learning about, or any topics that otherwise are important. Like we do a character trait every month. We're learning about gratitude because of Thanksgiving in October. So I put gratitude books, picture books and stuff. And I put everything on hold. And then I go pick them up at the beginning of the month. And then we have those books now. Our library, I don't know if every library does this, but our library, you get things for 3 weeks. So the plan was, since I want stuff for a month, after 3 weeks, I would renew them for another week, and then we would return them and get new books for the new month. Sometimes it doesn't work out because, like this time, I had to run to the library because a couple books were due. And because people wanted them, they were on hold. But yeah, so I have to go back to the library next week to get our books for October. But yes, I get lots of library books. I get ones that I'm going to read to them, and ones that they can just flip through as part of the school. Or sometimes I get like adult nonfiction, which will help me learn about, because genetics is a complicated topic. So I've got a genetics book that I can read to make sure I understand what I'm talking about when I explain it, or if they have questions. So was there anything else I wanted to say? That's how I plan unit studies. I don't use a unit study planner. That's just how I do it. It works for me, and maybe it'll work for you. If you try it, or if you want to share how you plan unit studies, please leave a comment. Or if you just want to say that this video was helpful or not helpful, please leave a comment. Give me a like, give me a subscribe for more content. I would really appreciate it. And I think that's it for this video. So have a good rest of your September. Bye.